In this video, we're going to talk about the tiger. I mean, it's one of the most majestic, powerful big cats on the entire planet, right? But what's really fascinating is what's going on behind those famous stripes. There's this whole complex world of survival, solitude, and some really surprising social rules. So let's dive in and find out what makes the tiger a true icon of the wild. Okay, so this quote from Wikipedia really hits the nail on the head. It calls the tiger an apex predator that lives a mostly solitary life. And that's the key, really. To get the tigers, you have to picture this top tier hunter that thrives on being alone, using pure stealth to make its way in the world. Alright, so here's our game plan for this explainer. First, we're going to look at the big picture, where tigers stand in the world today. Then, we'll zoom right in on the tiger's life cycle. From there, we'll get into their unique, solitary society, and finish things off, we've got 5 astounding facts that might just surprise you. Okay, first up, tigers in the world. Let's tackle that big question. What's their status right now globally? We're talking population numbers and where on Earth you can still find these incredible animals. So, right now, the estimated number of tigers in the wild is just over 5,500. Now, look, that number is still critically low, there's no doubt about it, but there's a glimmer of hope here. It's actually a pretty big jump from the all time low of about 3,200 back in 2010. What that tells us is that all the hard work, all the conservation efforts in key countries, they're actually starting to pay off. Now, here's something that might surprise you. For all their global fame, you can only find wild tigers on one continent. That's it, just Asia. They've completely disappeared from huge parts of their old stomping grounds, like West and Central Asia. Now, they're just hanging on in these scattered pockets, from the forests of India all the way over to the Russian Far East. And if we dig into those numbers, you can see just how concentrated they are. Look at this. India is the absolute powerhouse here. It's home to a staggering 2/3, 66%, of all wild tigers on the planet. Now, don't get me wrong, countries like Russia and Nepal are also super important, but their populations are way smaller. It really drives home just how vital India's success is for the survival of the whole species. So yeah, it really shows that the future of the tiger rests on the shoulders of just a few key populations. Okay, so let's zoom in now. We're going to shift from the big global picture down to the individual animal and really get into the tiger's life cycle. Its biology, reproduction, and all that good stuff. So let's start with the basics. What is a tiger? Well, first and foremost, it's a mammal. It belongs to the Felidae family, which is just the scientific way of saying it's a cat. But it's also part of a really exclusive club, the Canthera genus. That's the roaring cats club, which it shares with lions, leopards, and jaguars. When you look at a tiger's lifespan, it's really a tale of two completely different worlds. Out in the wilds, life is tough. It's a constant struggle, and they usually live for up to about 15 years. But in captivity, it's a whole different story. With consistent food, vet care, and protection, they can live well into their 20s, sometimes even hitting 26. Okay, so what about the next generation? Well, after about 3 months of pregnancy, a tigress will give birth. Now, a litter can have up to 7 cubs, but that's pretty rare. The usual number is much smaller, typically just 2 or 3. And these little guys are born completely blind and are totally dependent on their mom for everything. And the mating process? It's a very very intense affair. A tigress is only in heat for about 3 to 6 days. She'll let the males know she's ready with roars and by reading scent marks. The resident male will find her and they'll mate multiple times. But once that short window is over, he's gone. His job is done. The massive responsibility of raising those cubs, that falls 100% on the mother. Alright, so we've got a good picture of the individual tiger. How they live, how do they interact with each other? That brings us to their social world. And like we said at the beginning, these guys are mostly loners, but that doesn't mean their society is simple. It's actually pretty complex. Being an apex predator means you're at the very top of the food chain, and a tiger's menu reflects that. They primarily hunt big, hoofed animals. Things like sambar deer, wild boar, and even gore, which is a huge Indian bison, and they are absolute masters of the ambush. They use stealth and cover to sneak up on their prey before launching a powerful surprise attack. So how do they live together? Well, if you're picturing a lion pride with a king of the jungle, you can just throw that idea right out the window. That's not how tigers operate at all. Adult tigers are almost completely solitary. They live alone, they hunt alone, it's a one-cat show. But again, solitary doesn't mean it's simple. Their whole social structure is built around territory, not groups. There's no chief or alpha because there's no pack to lead. Instead, what you have is a dominant male who defends a massive territory, and his territory strategically overlaps with the smaller territories of a few different females. This setup basically gives him exclusive rights to mate with them. So, what about rivals? Who do they compete with? Well, besides the biggest threat, humans, their main competition for food comes from other predators, like leopards and dholes, which are these Asiatic wild dogs. But let's be real, it's not much of a competition. The tiger is the undisputed boss. These other predators actually go out of their way to avoid tigers, sometimes changing their hunting schedules or locations just to stay off the radar. Alright, to wrap this all up, let's get into some seriously cool facts that really show what makes the tiger so unique. These are the little details that revere an animal with incredible adaptations and some surprising behaviors. Okay, here we go. 5 astounding tiger facts for you. Number 1, their roar is so incredibly loud you can hear it from almost 2 miles away. Number 2, every single tiger's stripe pattern is completely unique. It's just like a human fingerprint. Number 3, and this is wild, that bright orange coat, it's actually camouflage. Most of their prey can't see the color red, so to them, the tiger's coat just looks green, letting them blend perfectly into the forest. Number 4, they're amazing swimmers. I'm talking, they've been seen crossing rivers 5 miles wide. And finally, number 5, a male tiger, unlike a male lion, will often let the females and cubs eat from a kill before he does, a real gentleman of the jungle. So when you put it all together, these facts paint a picture of an animal with incredible power, brilliant adaptations, and really complex, surprising behaviors. And it all leads back to that one critical question. Their population is still so fragile. So what can we do to make sure this majestic predator has a future where it can truly thrive? Alright, that is it for this video, everyone. Thanks for watching. Please make sure you're subscribed to our YouTube channel. I'll see you in the next video.